Now let's meet Max Sinclair, the founder and CEO of Ecomtent. It's a Techstars-backed company revolutionizing e-commerce with generative AI. Ecomtent empowers brands to swiftly create optimized product listings, including stunning lifestyle images, informative infographics, and compelling copy in any language. Max Sinclair comes with leadership experience at Amazon as the head of third-party grocery of Europe. And luckily, today, Max will share this experience in his talk on how to rank on AI-powered search, COSMO, and RUFUS. He will share his specific strategies to enhance your brand's visibility in the evolving landscape of AI-driven search platforms. Welcome, Max.
Hi, this is Max from Ecomtent, and I am excited to present to you Generative Engine Optimization, GEO, the future of SEO, optimizing for AI-powered search. So a little bit about me before we kick off. I'm the founder of Ecomtent. Ecomtent has a mission to help sellers, retailers, agencies optimize for AI-powered search. You can connect with me on LinkedIn over there. Before this, I spent 6 years at Amazon, and I have been educated from Mila, which is one of the leading AI institutes over in Quebec. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. And we are on the precipice of a new search engine domination. But I'm not talking about AI-powered search just yet. I'm talking about Google. We're in 2000, and as you can see here, Google quickly went from being a fifth of Yahoo searches to 10x them in a 10-year period in the early 2000s. And behind this rapid rise was a major traditional AI innovation, not a generative AI innovation, but kind of old boring AI innovation, which was the PageRank algorithm. We're all probably familiar with this, but basically Google developed this algorithm to understand how much weight it should give to a page based on the backlinks of other pages, and how many one page has referring to it, and also the relative strength of those backlinks. So they developed this new algorithm, and as you saw on the previous slide, started to absolutely dominate search because the experience was just so much better. And the companies who took advantage of this algorithm went on to become, billion-dollar companies. So TripAdvisor, who everyone here listening has probably heard of, went to a 14 billion peak market cap in 2014. They got 200 million monthly organic traffic, and the way they did this was to understand the algorithm, basically optimize for it. So they had hundreds of thousands of landing pages for each different city and location. So if you're traveling to London, Paris, Sweden, Los Angeles, doesn't matter where you're going, TripAdvisor would have a landing page for you, which was relevant, number one. Their second brilliant innovation to have this huge organic SEO was their awards backlink. So we're all probably familiar with TripAdvisor awards, and they give little 5-star ratings to restaurants and hotels, which these hotels would then show on their websites, giving TripAdvisor thousands of millions of backlinks, and also directing traffic there. So through kind of understanding how SEO worked, TripAdvisor became a $14 billion company, and their founder has basically said as much. The key growth lever was this SEO for TripAdvisor. Now, you've probably never heard of Virtual Tourist, but they were launched the month before TripAdvisor. Similar idea, similar concept. Also, I believe, founded in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and shut down in 2017. Reason being, probably many reasons, but one of the key reasons is they didn't have this brilliant SEO strategy that TripAdvisor employed. And now we're coming into a new era of generative search. We've all seen this. If you haven't heard of Perplexity, check it out. It's a competitor to Google. They get 100 million queries a week. Now, ChatGPT, the 10th most visited website in the world, has also launched search. So it's not my belief that we're going to see one player kind of dominate like Google did with their PageRank algorithm and take 80-90% of the market share. But I do firmly believe that this new way, this conversational way of searching is going to become 80-90%, and it's going to become the new dominant, even if it's not one player, even if it's a bit Perplexity, a bit ChatGPT search. But this is a new way that humans, I believe, and you know, the data is showing, are going to interact and find information and products. So Amazon, of course, have launched RUFUS. It's a conversational chatbot. Again, you're probably all very familiar with it. You can search for your products. When you're on a product, you can ask questions, you can get information. And Walmart have also launched something called Wallaby. Looks very similar. And as I said, this is the future direction of how customers are going to be discovering products. Why do we believe that Amazon and Walmart are going to be so focused on pushing this? You know, this is as someone who spent 6 years of Amazon, I can tell you this is the ethos of the company. As Jeff Bezos said in his letter to shareholders, customers are always beautifully, wonderfully dissatisfied. Even when they don't know it, customers want something better. And this is how Amazon works and many of these companies work. They are going to deliver a better search experience, whether people want it now, because they know that's the way that they can keep customers for the future. But indeed, and I can tell this from personal experience, RUFUS does offer superior customer experience now. So this chair you can see behind me, this is one of my purchases that I did off in RUFUS. And as you can see here, I wanted to get a nice massage office chair. And rather than kind of putting in the keywords office massage chair, you know, I'm familiar with ChatGPT. Obviously, I'm a founder in this space. I'm very biased, but I'm more conversational. I said, I want a high office chair. I care about quality and comfort more than price. You know, giving the AI a bit more understanding about what I'm looking for. I want something with 4-star reviews, on average above, and also I want the previous customers to have emphasized comfort. So, as you know, it takes about 10 seconds to put in that prompt, and right away it gives me an option number one. This is what you should go for, and that's what I bought. If you put in massage office chair into Amazon, what you get is a barrage of sameness, probably all coming from the same factory in China or the same square mile in China. The one that I purchased was not in the top 10 organic rank. You can see it here. The one I got, and the choice is just totally overwhelming. And this is why, I think even if they're not doing it now, definitely over the course of 2025, more and more customers are going to get familiar with AI-powered search and start using it. And I think this is going to be bigger than mobile, but the easiest comparison I can give you is that when I joined Amazon in 2016, 30% of searches started on mobile. Now 80% of Amazon searches start on mobile. And I think this is going to be a lot steeper adoption curve as technology, as always happens with technology. I think we're going to go to plus 25, plus 30% of searches on RUFUS by the end of the year, if not higher. And the key thing to think about is that optimizing, which is a thrust of this presentation, optimizing for AI-powered search and generative engine optimization is fundamentally different to SEO. One of the important ways it's fundamentally different to SEO is that people just give more context. So the average query on Perplexity is between 10 to 11 words. You saw my kind of mini paragraph I gave to buy my nice chair. That was even longer. But the average query is 10 to 11 words. On Google, and I can also say, having worked in search on Amazon, it's similar at Amazon. When I was there pre-RUFUS in 2022, it's 2 to 3 words. So fundamentally, the AI has a lot more information, not only information about the customer, which we'll get on to talking about, but also in the prompt, you'll have a lot more information to deliver a great product. And therefore, optimizing it becomes very different. Another thing to think about is speech. Speech will come into this. 32% of US homes have an Alexa. 27% of us have used voice search on mobile in the last 30 days. So 50% of US adults use voice search daily. So people are familiar with speech. And as the models get better and kind of Alexa upgrades to the latest Claude, which I think they've already signed a deal to do, we're going to see more and more customers actually not just typing, but you're actually talking to find their products. So let's talk about the science behind RUFUS. Lots has been made about this, but let's break it down. Everything I talk about and everything we build content on is based on the science papers. All of these are actually, Amazon has published 300 plus papers on search and all of this good stuff. And we read the science papers, we test it, and that's kind of the basis of what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So Amazon recently published this science paper about a shopping agent to address subjective product needs. Guess what that is? And it talks in the science paper about how they highlighted products on RUFUS and talked about a lot in the science paper, but the key thing to take away as a seller on how to optimize the products for RUFUS is to include these subjective product needs. So that means adjectives, right? So sturdy table, colorful dress, large lunchbox, number one. Number two, what event are you using it for? Is it for Easter? Is it for pregnancy? Is it for Christmas? Number three, what activity are you doing it for? Is it running, gaming, travel, whatever? Number four, what goal or purpose does your product serve? Weight loss, sleep supplements, what's the aim that people are using, are trying to find this product for? And then number five, talk about this a lot, and we'll talk about this more in this presentation, audience. Who specifically is this product for? So when you're optimizing for RUFUS, these 5 subjective product needs, the adjectives, the event, the activity, the goal, and the audience, that is key to put in your listing to get surfaced on these AI models. Now we're going to talk about COSMO. So RUFUS is kind of what we've discussed. It's what customers will be using to search for products on Amazon. It's currently, as I showed you on the app, it's on the desktop currently in the US, and they rolled it out in September, I think to all major marketplaces, and it appears on the desktop kind of in the left-hand corner. But I've also seen their split testing actually having RUFUS in the main results. So you'd have your RUFUS results, then your main results, a bit like Google Gemini and how that works. So look, my experience of Amazon, they're going to be split testing lots of different ways of doing this. They're going to see what drives the highest engagement. Obviously, they just care about sales, what drives the most conversion at the end of the day. So we're going to see how RUFUS looks like change and where it's positioned, etc. But RUFUS is that kind of front-end customer AI assistant that they're using. COSMO is a second thing that we all need to be very aware of, and that is actually how they've used large language models to improve the algorithms by which they surface products in the back end. So COSMO, and again taken from the science papers, harnesses LLMs to create common sense knowledge of how customers shop. It understands user behavior, and in their training data, they've put this in the papers. They've got hundreds of millions of data points. Amazon has tons of its own unique data points, but they've gone and they've also done a lot of human labeling specifically to train COSMO. They've also got external stuff as well. So they've trained it in all of this knowledge basically to create a common sense algorithm that will surface the right customer, each individual customer, the right product for them specifically. That's what COSMO is. This is live, and this paper, the first COSMO paper was launched in February 24. We're now recording this in January 25. In February 24, they said they did test on 10% of US traffic. They saw a 0.7% increase in product sales. This is going to be worth billions. And it is my understanding that in most major marketplaces, COSMO is rolled out and integrated as part of A9, augmenting A9 with kind of this common sense LLM-based algorithm which they've built. This gives you different results to traditional non-large language model non-large language model search algorithms. And a great comparison to think about is that 94% of AI overviews have links are different from those organic search results. So, and this was published by the search engine Land, and I'm sure you can get this presentation. But basically, the stuff that's being surfaced by large language models and AI and generative AI is different from what's being surfaced by traditional AIs, because it weights is differently. And fundamentally, as I'm going to talk about in a second, the technology is very, very different. So how can you future-proof? Again, it's the themes, similar themes to what we talked about in RUFUS. Intent-based matching, visual content, because these AI algorithms no longer just see text, but they can also read the images and understand the images, and then continuous monitoring and optimization. Keywords don't matter as much. So this is again taken from the COSMO science paper. But the reason keywords don't matter as much, just to break it down, is you put in a prompt to a large language model. The prompts, large language models work on the basis of tokens, which are numerical values. They don't work in the same way that A9 works. So you put in your prompt, it converts that into tokens, and then it compresses it. Why does it compress it? For speed and cost. Like these I know this as well as anyone. These GPUs are extremely expensive to run these kind of large language models, diffusion models. So NVIDIA is the most valuable company, or one of the most valuable companies in the world now. The GPUs are super expensive, so they always compress the tokens before they throw it in. So if you're trying to target a long tail keyword like brown massage chair for men, or whatever that long tail keyword is, you're probably not even getting it into part one of the prompt anyway, because it's being turned into tokens and it's being compressed before it's even ingested, before it even looks at its knowledge of the customer and the intent and blah, 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 and then spits out an end product. This is fundamentally different to how A9 works. And again, I worked in Amazon. I worked very closely with these teams. A9 would actually just take each keyword phrase, like brown massage chair, and it would see for each product what's the best price, what's the best conversion. It would have like 20 factors: price, conversion, reviews, other key elements that would help it to determine what the best product would be to surface for each keyword or key phrase that you put in. This is a totally different system. It's taking in the prompt, it's compressing it, turning it into tokens, matching that output to all of its knowledge base and training, and then generating what it thinks is, in common sense, is the best product for that individual customer. So it's a totally different technology, and that's why we say keywords don't matter as much in this new world. It's all about the intent. So in their science paper, Amazon give this example. If you're a pregnant woman and you're searching for shoes, it will show you slip-resistant shoes. COSMO will show you slip-resistant shoes because it understands, like Amazon knows you're pregnant. It famously kind of knows you're pregnant before even you may know. But secondly, it understands that you're pregnant, and when you are pregnant, similar users need slip-resistant shoes. So it understands the audience and the intent of the user, and it doesn't just go off keywords. It would show the pregnant woman slip-resistant shoes without the customer, without the seller putting in for pregnancies. Obviously, if you do put in images of pregnant women into the listing, and you do talk about pregnancies in the text, you're going to help COSMO further, and that's part of what we do at eContent. But the algorithm is going to show that customer that anyway, because it knows that's what's best for that customer. How do you optimize? Again, similar themes. This is from the COSMO paper. What do they say you need? You need to talk about the function and the usage. You need to talk about the event and the activity. You need to talk about the audience. You need to talk about this event. You need to, all these different areas that, the COSMO paper, similar to the RUFUS paper that I showed you earlier, say are important to training the model, because these things are getting more and more intelligent, right? So that it's not just about trying to hack the keyword and be like, oh, that keyword's got, high search volume and all the other products there are low reviews, therefore I'm going to target it. That was how you won on Amazon between 2010 and 2020, right? That was a great time if you're good at that kind of thing, but that's now gone. And what we need to do now is optimize for these AI-powered models. And it's not just about the copy. These AI systems, again, like Amazon, have recognition that can understand the context of images. It can understand there's a person, that they're mountain biking, that it's a bike. But again, this is in the algorithm itself, and Amazon actually sells this separately to customers as part of its AWS offering. So, is what I'm talking to you all theory? No, we understand this, and we've been doing this for customers. So this is one of our customers here. Before they worked with us, you ask RUFUS. RUFUS has pre-prompted questions, as you can see here. Do they protect the contents? And actually, the RUFUS, when you ask RUFUS a question, the product listing didn't contain the answer. When you go on eContent and you generate, optimized copy, as you can see, the copy's been optimized, but also optimized. You can't see the visual, sadly, because it's covered. But when you see the optimized infographics and lifestyle images that we generated, this helps to give RUFUS context when customers are answering your question. That's not just good for conversion and selling to RUFUS, but also it helps you with COSMO and it helps you with your rank. So you can see this customer went from about 60 in the bestseller rank to 25. And when you look at his product compared to his competitors, you can see that's actually pretty damn impressive, because his competitors have got much nicer main images, much nicer, much better reviews than he does. But actually, he's getting in there on traditional search because COSMO understands, his listings, apart from the main image, which is not something we do any content. But the rest of the copy, the A+ content, the infographics are all optimized for the algorithm, and therefore he's winning, which is great. Another customer went from outside the top 50 to number 26 in a super competitive category, bestseller rank, handmade product category, which is 4 million items, which is huge subcategory. And also, Amazon experiments, like when you test this stuff, it improves conversion because it's writing it actually for the audience, right? So the audience who's searching for this customer who sells handmade cards, it's more tailored to them. They're going to increase conversion. It's all a virtuous cycle that's going to help you to improve your, your ranking and your sales fundamentally. What is it? Again, we've got patents in this stuff. What is our technology? We look at, and again, this is just also to help you think about whether you're going to be a customer of eContent or not, how you can optimize for these AI algorithms. This is from our patents. You technically can't steal this, but it gives you an idea. We import the listing data. We look at the demographics. We look at conversion rates. We look at similar top-selling listings, and then we generate visual, optimize visual and written content. Still using high volume keywords. We still use that as part of 208 here, but it's not the key thing. The key things we're looking at is demographics, conversion rates, and what competitors are doing, and how we can optimize, generate optimized visuals and written content for your product listings. Our tool looks a little bit like this. You click here, you can generate lifestyle images, you generate optimized copy. It will show you all your keywords and their volume. You can generate beautiful A+ content. All of this done in one click, and then you just publish it to Amazon. You can either go one by one, or you can go at scale. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that this overview was helpful and interesting. I'm super passionate about this AI-powered search and helping sellers to do that, as you can know. And we have 10% off here, eContent as a special gift. Special coupon for you guys watching, so please go and enjoy that. And if you want to email me or reach out to me on LinkedIn, happy to talk to you. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Max, for sharing your expertise in ranking in AI-powered search. Your strategies were very insightful. Stay in touch with Max as the industry is evolving fast and his knowledge is invaluable.